because it also had the pre-Moose version. As far as I know, no one's done that. So the moral from this story is that your user is not always right, and it's okay to push back on their requests at some time. Example 2 is NetBackpack. Has anyone used NetBackpack? See, mine or yours? No one ever uses them. Has anyone ever used Backpack? Backpack is a system from 37 Signals. They're the Ruby on Rails thing. Backpack is kind of like a cut-down version of their base account product, but a lot of people use for project management. They call it a personal information manager. Anyway, it has an API. And APIs are good because APIs means that you can write modules that wrap around the API. So very soon after they released the API, and I'm talking like a couple of days, I started work on a thing called NetBackpack. But it's a big API. And I got really bored writing all these XML calls that you had to do to get the data back. But hey, they say release early, release often. So I released a partial implementation. And someone out there found it useful. I had a user. Actually, I think I only ever had one user. But she sent me a patch completing the implementation of the... Nashura, her name was. I've never met her, but I'm eternally grateful for those patches. A third example, Perlanet. Terrible name, I admit. Perlanet is a web feed aggregator for building Planet websites. I wrote it because I didn't want to have it in Python. And Planger, which was the Perl solution out there, was far too complicated for someone stupid like me to understand, so I started from scratch and wrote something simple. It's really, really simple. Might even be too simple for some cases. Because users have, well, okay, users have unexpected use cases, shall we say.
I go with weird myself.
Does anyone know Alex Kapranov? Kappa? He's not, I haven't seen him here. Is he not here this year?
No.
He was around last year. Anyway, he wanted to build perlplanet.ru, aggregating all the Russian people, or people speaking Russian that are blogging about Perl. And they're writing in Cyrillic. And it was a really handy test case because it flushed out loads of Unicode issues in both my code and the modules underneath my code that I was using, XML, RSS, and things like that. But Kappa didn't complain to me. He kindly forked the GitHub queue. He fixed the bugs, and then a few weeks later I got an email with a pull request from GitHub. I went through it. I didn't apply all of his patches because they didn't quite fit with the way that the module was going, but Kappa++, that's the kind of user that you really want. Sticking with Perlanet, you've all read, I hope, Planet Iron Man. See that? Actually, I think it still does use Planger. But they wanted to switch to using Perl. I don't know what they didn't like about Planger. I can't remember. But as I said, Perlanet is very simple. It runs on a YAML configuration, which is okay for the kind of planets that I built with it, where I'm aggregating a couple of dozen feeds. Very simple, but it doesn't scale particularly well. And Planet Iron Man, last time I asked Matt, I think he said they just passed 300 feeds, and passing that out of the YAML file isn't particularly good. So Matt and the Shadowcat boys and the N-Python Perl organisation are all sort of part of the Northwest England Perl mongers. So they had a hackfest over a weekend, came up with many improvements to the code. For example, well, basically what they did was, it was a monolithic application, and they just split it up and made it far easier to subclass, so that you could subclass the bit that was reading the configuration, so they could read it out of a database, things like that. Yeah, so more, again, subclassable, is that a word? It is now. And again, I got a GitHub pull request. Actually, I got another GitHub pull request from them just a few weeks ago. They've done a lot more changes with it to say more roles driven, which is something I would probably have never got around to doing. Everybody wins. So, in summary, writing software just for yourself is a lot of fun, and that's how we all started out, I'm sure. But writing software for users is better. Seeing your software being used by other people is great. I mean, when I heard that Perl-Adit is being used by the BBC to build some aggregated websites, I was really chuffed. So getting feedback about your software is great. As I say, users supply bugs, and cleaning out bugs is obviously good. As users supply patches, I suppose having the small number of users that I have in my modules, I tend to have a higher quality user supplies bugs more often than that. Let's find new ideas. I mean, I would never have changed Perl-Adit in the way that the Northwest England pollmarkers suggested. They supply new insight into your own software. They appreciate your work. It's nice to be appreciated. The best, absolute best of all, some users show their appreciation by buying you beer. Thank you for listening.